Welcome to Context. I'm Bakhtiar Sanov. We turn our attention to a major development in the Middle East. Turkey and Syria have signed a military cooperation and training agreement, marking a significant step in the normalization of bilateral relations. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has stated that actors concerned about Syria's normalization process are engaging in provocations, signaling that this rapprochement could reshape regional security dynamics. To unpack the implications of this agreement, the potential challenges and what it means for the broader Middle East, we're joined by Enrique Cosero, political analyst in Madrid, Spain. Mr. Cosero, welcome to the program, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for the invitation.
So, Mr. Cosero, let's begin our discussion. How significant is the Turkey-Syria military cooperation deal in the context of regional security?
I think it's the most important because in the transition from the dictatorship with al-Assad and now the trying, the pro-democracy, whatever you want to define it, it's a very fragile moment for Syria. So having an ally, and a side-by-side friend, if you want to call it that way, in Turkey, which is also a country, NATO country, and NATO ally. It's definitely a very important thing for Syria in a moment that Syria is trying to develop a new status as a political country, and trying to develop a new sort of a new government. It's as much as in any other Middle East country, Syria is not sort of a tight country in society or in demographics. So let's see how this government, headed by al-Shara, can prove.
So what do you make of Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan's warning about provocations from other actors?
Yeah, and we know which is that other actor and who is provoking the Syria's stability, or who is endangering the Syria's stability, which is, of course, Israel. I think Israel is right now in a very delicate situation. They don't forget, and they're not going to forget the Six-Day War, in which Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, or even in a minor way, Lebanon was at war with Israel, and right now in a sort situation of instability in Syria, Israel is trying to control, to dominate the southern Syria. So if they call that provocation, of course they can call that way, but it's not taking anybody by surprise what Israel's reaction in order to ensure their borders are going to be.
Mr. Cosero, what does this military cooperation agreement mean for Syria's relationship with other regional actors? For instance, Iran.
Of course,
yes.
Turkey. Yep, of course, Turkey is a great military. It's a great military. It's a great military state. They deal with lots of their expenditure in military is really high. They got their own industry, and they're probably, for sure, they're prone to militarize Syria in order to have a very competent, or sort of a competent, army. But it's not just the military expenditure from Syria buying weapons to Turkey. It's also $2 billion trade agreement with Turkey, which means, as I said before, Turkey is right now the main partner in this new situation, in this new evolution in the Syria politics and the Syria government.
So in your opinion, could this rapprochement affect U.S. policy towards Syria and Turkey?
It's hard to say, because we know Donald Trump. And we know that Donald Trump is taking one step forward, one step back, one step forward, one step back. And afterwards, if the deal goes right for Donald Trump, he's going to say it's a very beautiful deal and so forth. So I think Donald Trump, some sort of way, relays this situation to Turkey, but we can't forget that Turkey is not a stranger to China or Russia. So I mean, from my own perspective, right now, Turkey is trying to made itself a big country in the Middle East, trying to have a very prominent situation with just one country to warn to, which is Israel. So I think that Turkey is trying to act and focusing in sort of being a hub in all the Middle East interest to the world.
So how might this deal influence the Kurdish issue, particularly with the YPG in northern Syria?
As I said before, yes. I think it's right now very soon to say what's going to happen in northern Syria right now, and I don't really see. I mean, the KPP was almost dismantled, and this situation with Turkey as an alliance, as an ally, it can be a sort of a new ignition in order to start some sort of a new rebel group against Turkey's interests, right? And we saw this sort of familiar movement because on the 70s, we remember Black September. And after Black September, they came Hezbollah, and right now we got Hamas in Gaza. So this sort of movement from group to group in order to defend the very same things is not a strange thing on the area. So if the PKK was almost dismantled, maybe this new group can be reignited in order to confront Turkey. But as I said, this is sort of, I think this is quite soon to say it because I can't reach right now how well funded this rebel group is.
Mr. Cosero, what are the likely domestic reactions in both Turkey and Syria to this military agreement?
This is a very good question because we have to remember that in the Middle East, probably Turkey is the most stable democracy and most stable system in the whole region, Israel apart. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen. We know for sure that a country like Iran is controlling whatever any rebel or any dissonant group or dissonant movement can reach. But we saw that it happened on Iraq. We saw that it didn't happen on Afghanistan. We saw that didn't happen even in Libya. So I want to be cautious with the Syrian evolution in order to reach some sort of stability. And even if they get it, probably the way to find it is the sort of very close to whatever they got with Al-Assad dictatorship, right? So I don't discard any sort of any kind of totalitarianism in the next years, probably.
So what do you think? Could we see further military or intelligence cooperation between the two countries beyond training?
That's pretty sure. I think that's 100% sure for one of the next steps. As much as try to militarize the new Syrian army or try to reinforce the new Syrian army, and afterwards probably the intelligence exchange and the intelligence training is going to be one of the most fundamental issues in order to implant within the military, because from Syria, we all know you can control lots of information coming from the Middle East.
So, Mr. Kosero, how might this development affect Turkey's relations with Israel and other Middle Eastern countries?
Right now, Israel, as I said before, remembering the 6-day war, Israel I don't want to say it's in war with everybody, but Israel is threatened by everybody. Is a country who's surrounded by enemies or potential enemies. And those enemies, even if we, maybe this is going to be frivolous, but even considering the common acceptance and how the different societies along the world is taking the role of Israel in the war against Hamas in Gaza, probably this some sort of low popularity coming from Israel is gonna be an advantage for Turkey in order to raise and say, okay, we are defending this part of the globe, and as I said before, this is given Turkey sort of a preeminent situation, a preeminent position in the area.
And finally, what do you think? What are the next steps in Turkey-Syria relations after this military cooperation deal?
Let's see how this evolves, because there is no stable country without a stable army, and I'm not quite sure who's playing a main role in the Syrian army, especially when the Syrian army are going to be re-weaponized. So Al-Shara, I think he has to be very, very cautious. He is more juggling than practicing politics in here, especially within his own country. I know for sure that Turkey is going to be fostering any step supporting the very Al-Shara himself, and they're not gonna let Al-Shara fall. But if the country becomes very unstable and Turkey's interests are going to be endangered, take for sure that Turkey is going to say, okay, this is it. We're gonna quit this agreement. No further collaboration, no further cooperation.
Enrique Kosero, thank you very much for sharing your valuable insights and for joining us on AnewZ. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thank you to our viewers for staying with us on Context. I'm Bakhtiar Sanov. Stay informed, stay engaged. Until next time.